So I want you to imagine that you're Kevin Feige and you go on the world stage and you introduce Brie Larson as the Captain Marvel actress. And you believe that Brie Larson will do a good job. I mean, this was just after she won an Oscar, so that kind of suggests that she will be a great actress. Now, she might actually be a great actress. She has won an Oscar. But her whole behaviour recently is really embarrassing Kevin Feige, because I've just watched this interview on the Jimmy Fallon show, and Brie Larson discusses when she went to film Avengers Endgame, there's actually no script. There's no full script for Avengers Endgame, and there was no script that was finished for Captain Marvel movie. So she struggled to develop this character, and it sounds like Brie Larson is trying to put out these small excuses. So if she appears bad in Avengers Endgame, she's actually warned people and told people that it's not her fault, and she's pointing out that this character wasn't introduced very well. Like in this example of Jimmy Fallon, she says she turned up on set and she was on a green screen and she wasn't actually told the location of where she was. So it could be in New York, it could be in Tokyo, it could be in space, and she's just told lines to read out, and she's trying to portray herself as the victim. Like she's turned up on set, she's tried to do her best, and she says in this interview that she had to ask questions about who she was talking to, where she was meant to stand, and she's portraying Kevin Feige as somebody who runs quite a poor studio. So when everybody says how well organised Marvel is and how, you know, they have the best directors, best producers, and they're making these great movies, Brie Larson is kind of suggesting the opposite. She's suggesting that she turns up on set and it's all disorganised, and that's the kind of discussion that she's raising about how she turns up on set and she doesn't know what to do, and she has to ask people who she's talking to, and it just makes Kevin Feige look really bad, because it makes it look, she started to make Kevin Feige look like Kathleen Kennedy. Now, Kathleen Kennedy runs Lucasfilm, and she's been criticised a lot for her role in Star Wars, and how Star Wars has come out very confused and very disorganised, where there's two different directors who have this very different vision of what Star Wars is about, different scripts, characters being introduced, then killed off when they shouldn't be, and just a very disorganised chaos surrounding Star Wars. Those are the same messages that Brie Larson is starting to give out about Marvel and Kevin Feige. But also, you have Kevin Feige. Now, he wants Brie Larson to focus on Avengers Endgame, yet regularly she's talking in interviews and on social media about Unicorn Store. Now, you might think that Kevin Feige is saying, fine, that's a separate movie, I can't really get involved in that, that's just a typical career of an actress. But the point is that this movie has been trashed by the critic. It's getting bad publicity. Why would you want an actress associated with a bad movie creating muddy water and noise for Avengers Endgame? If it was a good movie, then fine, it would show that Brie Larson is very talented and it would create positive publicity. But because Unicorn Store is been trashed by the critics, it's got lots of negative publicity, why would you want Brie Larson talking about this movie? And also, if you take Jennifer Lawrence for example, Jennifer Lawrence has been in some great movies, very talented actress, but she was in one movie called Sabrina, and it was done very poorly at the box office, it was trashed by the critics, and it's just one of those things, you know, an actress or even the best actor sometimes will be in poor movies, but Jennifer Lawrence never talks about that movie. She'll never mention the word Sabrina. She'll talk about X-Men or Hunger Games or some of her earlier movies that she won an Oscar for, but she'll never talk about Sabrina because it was poorly received. So why is Brie Larson talking about a movie that's poorly received? And most actors will just try and ignore it. They'll try and pretend this movie was never filmed, it was never released, and they'll try and brush it under the carpet, and they'll focus on their good films. So why is Brie Larson talking about a terrible movie and then going on interviews and suggesting that Marvel is actually poorly run? So Kevin Feige has selected Brie Larson, yet Brie Larson is now going in all of these interviews and pointing out that Marvel is quite disorganised. And it all depends how Kevin Feige accepts it. Because when he appears in interviews, he's a very jolly, very jovial man who can accept criticism and just goes with the flow. Yet behind the scenes, they take it very harshly. If you criticise Marvel in any way, so let's say for example, Chris Hemsworth went into an interview and he said something negative about Marvel, Kevin Feige would phone him up and give him an ear bashing down the telephone for criticising Marvel. You don't know just how Kevin Feige operates behind the scenes, but I'm surprised that he's allowing Brie Larson to go into all these multiple interviews and point out that Captain Marvel was introduced without any script. But what it appears also, the main point, is that Brie Larson is trying to put out excuses. She's trying to put small excuses out to say that if this movie is bad, bad. It's not my fault. I turned up on set and there was no script. I wasn't told who this character really was. And that's what it appears she's trying to do. She's trying to put out excuses. Now, if Avengers Endgame does very well, which it almost certainly will, she'll now come out and say, oh, the script was great, the producers did an excellent job. Yet before the movie is released, she's saying the opposite. She's saying that she turned up and the directors had different vision. There was no script. She wasn't told what to do or even what location in the world or the universe she was in. So this might turn out that Kevin Feige might take this as an insult. It could be the end of Brie Larson going into these interviews basically dismissing Marvel and putting down how well Kevin Feige is running Marvel. So again, leave your comments below and also like and subscribe.